Hey everybody, Jason Holland with Jason Holland Fishing, here to give you the real secrets on Wacky rigging and Neko rigging. Today we're going to talk about Wacky rigging and Neko rigging. Crazy names, really what does it mean? What it really means for you is extremely finesse fishing, but a great fish and catch machine. So we're going to walk through the rod and reel setup. We'll talk about line. We'll talk about the actual hook. We'll talk about the lure you put on the hook, the soft plastic. We'll talk about how you tie it. Also, importantly, where you throw it. So let's dive in. Stay tuned. Got a lot of good stuff for you. I'm starting off with the Cashin fishing rod. This is the John Cruz Signature Series rod, and really designed for a lot of different finesse type applications, weightless all the way up to typically a 5/8 or so. But this rod itself is a 7-wood, medium heavy, fast action, really fast tip, which I love in finesse and lightweight situations. Jumping over the reel, this is a Daiwa Tatula 2500 series. And from there, we've got Sunline. This is the high-vis yellow 16-pound braided line. And that goes to our leader material, which is Sunline Sniper. This happens to be the 8-pound test. You can do 8, you can do down to 6, you can go up to 10, really whatever the situation is. But that's your rod, reel, line setup. All right, let's talk about the business end of it, which is the hook. A lot of different versions. We're going to focus on a couple main ones today that you're going to use when it comes to Wacky rigging and Neko rigging. They're very much the same, just a little bit for how you position the hook and the weight will really determine the weightless Wacky rig or the Neko. So first off, we'll start with, this is the Gamakatsu G Finesse Stinger hook. This is a size 1, and as you can see, it's got a couple unique features. One, you've got these 2 titanium weed guards, and really what that does is helps you around branches, around logs, around weeds. Just gives the ability to come through some thicker, heavier cover stuff by having this weed guard. And also, as you can see, it's got a longer shank, which is really important when it comes to Wacky rigging. Another version of the Wacky rig is the weighted Wacky rig. Again, as you can see, it's got a weed guard here, but the difference is this has a 1/8 lead head poured into it. So all this does is it gives you the ability to cast a little bit further, your sink rate speeds up, and allows you to be a little bit more efficient. Another great option. And then from there, we've got some Neko weights. This is a football head Neko weight into a screw lock, and then this is the Missile Baits Neko weight, and then you've got the Wacky tool. And we'll kind of walk through now how you put all this together. So what is a Wacky rig? A Wacky rig is typically a weightless worm that you take and you hook Wacky style. Well, all that means is you hook that, a couple ways you can do it. I just kind of fold it over the middle and just start with. And what you're going to do is you're going to hook that bait right in the middle. And what it does is, again, I know it looks bad, looks funky, but that is the setup. And what happens is that as it comes through the water, the weight of the water pushing against it, it gives this action as it goes through. And typically you have a heavier portion of plastic over here, which helps that overall wobble. Sometimes they call it the wiggle. And really what this shines is really high pressured areas where it's getting a lot of people are fishing it, throwing a lot of different things, and you need to slow down, get more of a finesse type presentation. The Wacky rig is a great way to catch them. Other good thing is they skip extremely well. So say you're fishing on the bank and you've got a boat dock that sticks out in the water, you can take it, sidearm cast it, and skip that up underneath the boat dock. Really great tool to catch them. And that's really the rig. You take that, you tie it directly to your line, and just cast it out weightless. It's a really great tool to catch fish, and they call it Wacky for a reason, because you're right, it does look very wacky. Same type of deal when you look at the weighted Wacky. All that this is, as we said earlier, is same type of weight you rig it. You can go offset a little bit, or you can go right in the middle of your soft plastic. And all that this does is gives it a little bit of weight here as it falls. It's going to fall again like this, and it's going to get that action as it comes down. Just helps you cast a little bit further, rate of fall is a little bit quicker. Now, that's the Wacky rig. There's the weightless, weighted version of it. Pretty straightforward. Now we'll talk real quick about the Wacky O-tool. And really what this is a tool that you can put O-rings on your soft plastics and actually hook your hook into the O-ring and not the soft plastic, because it has a tendency to tear. All you'll do is you'll take, this is a Yamamoto Senko, which is the classic. Put that into your tool. Typically I kind of go in that, you can see on this worm, it's kind of got an egg sac there. I really shoot for the middle, give or take. Get it where you want it, and then all you got to do is just slide this O-ring up your tool, and then it'll just snap right off onto your worm. So now when you hook it, instead of hooking it directly through your soft plastic, you'll actually hook it through the O-ring. Get it down here where you can see it. And there you go. So now, as that hook is pulling and the weight is actually pulling on the O-ring and not the soft plastic, it'll extend the life of your soft plastics. Now, talk about the Neko rig. Really, Neko is taking a Wacky rig and just adding some weight to it and repositioning where your hook is at. That's fundamentally what it is. So, we got our Senko. What we're going to do is we're going to hook it. Again, here's our head. What we're going to do is, I'll show you real quick. Here's our Neko weight. Stick the weight into the head of your Senko. Or, another great product to do that on is the Missile Baits 6.5 quiver. Fantastic bait to Neko rig as well. So there's your setup. You got your O-ring, and then you've got your weight in it. And then, again, this is going to fall nose down. Take your hook and hook it, as you can see, directly through here, and catch your O-ring. So now as you cast this out, this bait is going to bottom hop. That way it's going to keep that nose on the ground, and it's a great way, especially if you got kids just getting into fishing. This thing is a fish catching magnet. Great way to do it. Neko rig it. You've got the Missile Baits Neko weights, and then you've also got the football head screw in. But it's just a matter of, instead of doing a Wacky, which is, as we talked about, sideways, so all we're doing now is putting the weight on it, and we're repositioning our hook to turn it into a Neko rig. A couple of products that I like real fast we'll talk about. We talked about the Missile 6.5 quiver, Gary Yamamoto 5-inch Senko, and then also a Bass Pro Shops. This is the Wacky worm. It's a really cool little bait. I'll show you real fast, and really what it does is it helps accentuate the flapping action as it comes down. As you can see, it's heavier weighted on each end, and it's got a thinner piece in the middle, and so it gives that that flapping action as it falls. Helps it along the way. Thanks for joining us. Hopefully you learned something about Wacky rigging and Neko rigging. Appreciate the TWRA for allowing me to come along, and hopefully you got some real secrets. Look forward to seeing you next time.